mechanical soldier sleeps amidst the detritus of a castle storehouse. Time has no meaning here. A minute is as an age. Until the day he meets the boy. The exhausted boy can only mutter 3 simple words. Let me rest. Seeking to help, the man begins rooting around to prepare a makeshift bed. As he continues to dig, a discarded weapon suddenly activates. The man manages to assemble a crude resting place from the storehouse junk. The boy wearily makes his way to the bed and manages a heartfelt thanks. After studying the man for a moment, he begins to ask him questions. The name the man gives is that of the first model of clockwork soldiers. I was also a first once, says the boy. First in line to the throne, but no more. The man explains he was unable to carry out orders and discarded as defective. The boy responds that as his disease has grown worse, he too has been cast aside. You and I are much alike, says the boy with a sad smile. Weary of talking, the boy finally falls asleep. The man simply sits, keeping the boy's peaceful expression in the corner of his eye. The cold room burdens the boy, and his condition worsens. The man looks about and sees what appears to be a bottle of medicine. But upon taking it in hand and looking at the label, he realizes it is actually a weapon of poison gas. The man continues to search for medicine that might aid the boy. It seems the storehouse expands beyond the junk pile pressed against the wall. He retrieves a bottle from the shelf and returns to the bed where the boy waits. The boy looks at the man's gift and chuckles. Empty bottles won't cure me, I'm afraid, he says as the man stares at him blankly. Still, says the boy, He suddenly stands, as if a thought has come to mind. The boy places a candle in the bottle, turning it into a small lamp. He then begins to sing in a small, quiet voice. By the power of his will does the hero draw his sword. To stop the mean advances of the darkness in the world. He will use this light to lead away the people from fear's horde. It is the song of a hero who challenges evil in order to save his people. The lamp flickers warmly as the man thinks. "Thank you," he says finally. Those words should not have existed in the man, and yet somehow they did. The boy's shocked stare slowly becomes a smile, bright enough to last a lifetime. In the corner of a frigid room, these two companions are comforted by the same warmth. Soldiers' voices drift in from outside. The kingdom has once again declared war. The boy looks at the man and opens his heart. He once lacked the courage to stand against his father and had stayed complicit. But now he burns to stop the king and protect his people from the horrors of war. The passion in his eyes is evident. The man breaks through the door, and the boy follows after. As a divine light shines behind him, the king glares down at the two interlopers. In a bold voice, the boy shouts up at the king. "By my name as the firstborn, I propose this war be ended." In that moment, he is just like the hero of his song. With a sneer, the king looks to the clockwork soldier and says, The man freezes, but he cannot disobey his master, for that is how he was programmed. With a shaking hand, he readies his gun. The boy stares straight at the man from the end of the barrel. Unable to resist his orders, the man's finger hovers over the trigger. In a final, desperate move, the man shuts down his own motor circuits. His finger lets go of the trigger, and he falls to his knees before the boy. It is the first time he has resisted orders of his own volition. all to save the boy. With an animalistic cry, the king rises up before the pair. The king's roar brings soldiers running as he demands they tear the traitors apart. The man seizes the boy's hand, and they begin to run from the castle. For the first time in his existence, the man finally has a will of his own. The escapees arrive at the town outside the castle and find people in a panic over the impending war. Somehow, the two manage to escape beyond the borders of the kingdom. Looking back on their former home, they each make an oath. The boy swears to travel the nation as its prince and bring an end to the war, while the man promises to guard the prince until his dying moment. Together, they will sever the marionette strings the kingdom has bound them to. With determination in their hearts, they take their first steps into the future.